A very good day to all my listeners all across the globe. Welcome back to my podcast, George Nathaniel. As I always do, I come back with very simple and relevant topics that relates to each one of you. Well, what is my topic for today? My topic for today is shining among stars. Well, each one of us wants to be a superstar, and each one of us wants to be shining among stars. Well, what does it take to be shining among stars? Well, to begin with, I must tell you, your work should reflect on your worth, nothing else. One needs to frame success stories over achievements and build one's value over one's worth. The moment you are able to do this, you begin to shine among stars. There's a wise saying, and I always say in all my podcasts, I always emphasize on my podcast that we must listen and pay attention to wise saying. So there's a wise saying that says, don't be judged by appearance or lesser communication skills. Remember, being loud or being flashy does not define anything. Role play defines success. So we need to be humble, be sure in letting our contribution matter. We need to define the difference in our contribution. And most of all, we need to be part of the contribution. So when I talk about shining among stars, what we need to understand that we need to be a part of an integral decision making. And decision making over oneself comes from very basic things, very basic understanding, very basic reasoning, and very basic values. So when I say this once again, I would say to understand. So when we need to understand, we need to intercept the usefulness to contribute over that specific thing. Next, we need to reason. Now, when I say we need to reason, it has to be a meaningful effort to drive results. And most importantly, its values. We need to ensure that each one of us values our worth. And our worth in any contribution should drive results. So, to understand reason and value are three important aspects if one wants to shine among our stars. So, like I always say, we need to focus on our personal lives, we need to gather over our professional lives, and we need to understand our contribution in all wellness across life's happiness, progress, and how we can make a better living for each one of us all across the globe. So, I talk about key takeaways. Well, I would say relating to the subject shining among stars. Well, the goal to shine among stars. I would say there are very basic goals to shine among stars. Number one, I would say is to gather one's peer or space or value or worthiness in contribution. So if we are able to gather our ground, that's the basic. Next thing that we need to do is focus on our goals or our vision. And remember, others' light can never shine over our way. And others' light can never shine over your pathway. So it's very important to concentrate on goals, very important to concentrate on the vision, to build over the vision. And most importantly is to sustain. Once you are there amongst the stars, once you are able to build a value for yourself, you need to sustain the meaning of it. And that is maintaining the space over contribution. It's very important that we learn, we grow, we build our awareness, and we contribute meaningfulness in life. So the basics of any stardom is one's own identity. So when one, as an individual, when you look at yourself, And when you evaluate yourself over your personal lives, your professional lives, or your goals in life, or contribution in life, what we need to understand is each one of us have our own stardom, and each one of us needs to shine in our own stardom, and that starts with success stories, that starts with recognition, and that starts with enlightening over the regular process in life. So when we live in our own galaxy, and when we live in a galaxy of stars, there are very basic things that I spoke about. There are very, very basic things that we can build over. And there are very, very basic things that, yes, can have more meaning in our lives. Well, there are very, very basic things that can help us grow over bigger achievements in life. So, shining among stars is nothing but understand bigger meanings in life. Shining among stars is about looking at bigger goals in life. Shining among stars is about creating the space or values for oneself in life. So, listeners, as you sit down and make a note of your own personal goals, as you sit down and make a note how to shine among stars, I wish each one of you all the success in life. And remember, the most important of any success is contribution. The most important of any success is value sharing. The most important of any success is building meaningfulness in all wellness, in all happiness, and in all worthiness in life. I hope you like listening to my podcast. This is George Nathaniel. I keep my podcast very simple, and I keep my podcast very meaningful. And I keep my podcast very open so that as you sit down, you get a better idea or understanding to build over your own task, to build over your own meaning in life. I wish each one of you greater success. Keep shining, keep spreading the happiness, and let's make our world even more meaningful in building more wellness. Thank you so much. This is George Nathaniel.